push you down, I will raise my voice and stand my ground.
It's just so obvious. They're so bad at it. I used to think they were good at it. They're actually bad at it, because if they were good at it, I'd never be president.
Well, Doge this week is laying off, get this, 3,600 probationary employees, 4,000 employees retained, and so then the savings is $600 million. So I guess a probationary doesn't mean they're on probation. It means that they were just recently hired and they're during this probationary period, which makes it easier for Doge and the government to let go of them if they decide that their jobs are not necessary.
Well, and this is a guy with Elon Musk. We saw when he took over Twitter, I mean, he slashed a lot of the employees. It's still running just fine. But the biggest problem where we are right now as a country with our federal government, it's too big. This is not the original vision of America. We were supposed to have a decentralized government. That was the whole vision of the founding fathers. So what we have now is the antithesis of what America is supposed to be. And when government becomes so centralized and so big, it becomes corrupt.
Correct.
And that's what we're seeing. And that's what we saw with the Biden administration going after people under the FACE Act, going after its political opponents without fear. And so what this election is about is the American people taking their power back. It's a we the people election, and we're seeing a we the people administration.
Yeah, I think probably one of the most shocking things have been the things that we saw happening at USAID, which, by the way, we're going to have Glenn Greenwald on tomorrow, and we're going to talk about that. Who knew that so much money was being spent? I mean, we knew there was regime change operations going on, but they were to the tune of billions and billions and billions of dollars doing the work of the CIA through USAID, and nobody really, it was very opaque. Nobody knew what was going on. It also was going to NGOs, and you know, we saw Hillary Clinton's daughter receiving a lot of money. There was a lot of things that have come up, and I think the American people, and you see the polling, are on board with this. It's hard to believe that these Democrats think they can sing their way out of this, because the American people are on board with it.
Yeah, who would possibly be against making the government more efficient? And as much as we'd like to just snap our fingers and fix all of it, the truth of the matter is it's going to happen by not hiring new employees, by extending buyouts to current employees. It's going to be a gradual thing, but it's going to make it more efficient. But what is snapping your finger is the Trump administration is finding all of these giant pots of gold that the Biden administration was hiding all over the place. Most recently, $1.9 billion in HUD money was just recovered after being misplaced air quotes, during the Biden administration due to a broken process. These funds were earmarked for the Administration of Financial Services, but are no longer needed. Secretary Turner and Doge worked together to fix the issue and de-obligated the funds, which are now available for other use by the Treasury. The federal government is these agencies, they're the only, any company on earth that operated like this would go out of business, and the people that ran the company would be put in jail.
What was the number again? Was that
1.9 billion?
That's like if we lifted the couch pillow cushions up here and we found $1.8 billion. I mean, I know how happy I get when I put my hand in a pocket and I go, oh my God, there's a $5 bill. I feel like I'm rich. This is what's happening all over the map. We're finding money under the cushions in your pockets, and it's just sitting there, getting either about to get funneled off to some NGO to employ, you know, Democrats in the next 4 years, or it's getting sent somewhere else, or it's going into the hands of criminals, because there's all these networks that have been set up to defraud us. We heard about the money that was being sent overseas as well, in fraudulent payments of Social Security.
Well, and in a lot of instances, these NGOs are working against American interests. I mean, we've seen a lot of these aiding and abetting, basically human trafficking, with you know, these illegal aliens over the border as well. So, but I mean, you think about it too. I mean, look, it's like $1 trillion a year just on the interest on our debt alone, right?
About how horrible it is that we just found $1.8 billion under the couch cushion today. Listen.
I will lift you up when they push you down. I will raise my voice and stand my ground. Well, it looks like it might be a hard road, but I'm gonna walk it with you.
That's not the worst version we've heard, though, right?
They're pretty bad.
I've heard worse.
They're all pretty bad. They get worse and worse, which I think is really funny because
this is their civil rights movement?
Yeah, this is their civil rights movement. Civil federal employees who are unionized, shouldn't be unionized, by the way, but they're civil workers, bureaucrats in Washington, D.C., who spend, all of your money, all of it paid for by you. And by the way, even if you were to make it as efficient as possible, a lot of them are doing things that we don't need that actually make life more terrible for people.
And there are people that are doing great stuff. So let's keep the people that are doing the good stuff, that keep the trains running, that keep the system running, and the checks paid to the military and the checks paid to our veterans. We need all that. Let's streamline, get rid of all the waste, find all these pots of money that are getting wasted away. I don't see how anybody could be against it. But one of the tactics that they're using besides singing is trying to separate Elon Musk and Donald Trump, this bro romance. That's bromance. That's been going on. Here's President Trump talking about it to Sean Hannity. This is a tease, you guys, because next week the whole interview with Elon Musk and Donald Trump will air on Sean Hannity's show on Tuesday night. But here's Donald Trump talking about this tactic.
You're both aware, you have to be keenly aware, that the media and the punditry class, not that, I think you've proven they have no power anymore because they threw everything they had at you and they didn't win. And that was, the New York Times, Washington Post, 3 networks, every late night comedy show, 2 cable channels. They just threw everything, lawfare, weaponization. Sure. And now I see they want you two to start, they want a divorce. They want you two to start hating each other. And they try, President Elon Musk, for example. You do know that they're doing that to you.
Oh, I see it all the time. They tried it, then they stopped. That was over. They have many different things of hatred. Actually, Elon called me. He said, they're trying to drive us apart. I said, absolutely. No, they said, we have breaking news. Donald Trump has ceded control of the presidency to Elon Musk. President Musk will be attending a cabinet meeting tonight at 8 o'clock. And I say, it's just so obvious. They're so bad at it. I used to think they were good at it. They're actually bad at it, because if they were good at it, I'd never be president. Because I think nobody in history has ever gotten more bad publicity than me. I could do the greatest things. I get 98% bad publicity. I could do, outside of you, a few of your very good friends, it's like the craziest thing. But you know what I have learned, Elon? The people are smart. They get it.
Yeah, they do, actually.
They get it. They really see what's happening.
Yes.
Those things at the same time. We can't just say we're going to make you physically healthy. We have to...
That's a tall order.
Yeah, well, I think, we all have to learn that, we need to get up in the morning and not think about what am I going to do to make myself happy today. We have to get up and say, what am I going to do to make myself useful today, to be useful to my friends, to my family, to my community. And that, paradoxically, is ultimately the path to happiness. That connectiveness that you get from doing good things, from being of service to others.
And you're in what I was reading so much about today, and we're going to get to the usual criticism, but the addiction community responded to your confirmation today by saying this gives hope to those who themselves have struggled at one point in their lives with either drug addiction or alcohol addiction. Not only can you turn things around, but you can move to a totally different plane of accomplishment and spirituality. That was a big message to the people out there, millions, to this moment, who are struggling. Speak to that.
And I think it's the same thing as, most addicts like myself feel like, I feel like I was born an addict. And that these impulses are biologically hardwired into us. And whether you feel that way or you feel you became an addict or an alcoholic later on in life, the only way to overcome that biological impulse is with a spiritual realignment, a spiritual fire. And so I think, and that comes from connectiveness to community. And, alcoholism and addiction are a disease of isolation. People end up in jails, institutions, and dead or in bathrooms by themselves, or insulated by secrets, but they withdraw from the community and from connectiveness. And the process of getting sober is a process of reconnecting to community.
Well,